Okay, now we're looking at number 11. Number 11 on page 537. And this is a short answer response asking us to talk about how Le Chatelier, his principle, is related to the common ion effect. Okay? Well, we know that this is talking about shifts in EQ with changes in concentration, pressure, and temperature. This here, the common ion effect, is talking about the decrease in solubility when a salt is added to a solution. And the idea is the salt has a common ion. Okay, so let me explain briefly the common ion effect. The common ion effect says, for example, if we have barium sulfate solid, this can dissolve in solution to form this here. Okay, barium sulfate dissolves to form barium 2+ ions and sulfate ions. This is not very soluble, okay, but it is somewhat soluble. And the idea is that barium ions are poisonous. Okay, you can find this example in your book actually on page 532. So if you want to look at 532 on your own time to see if this makes any sense. The idea is that we have this in solution, a very little bit of barium and a little bit of sulfate. Well, let's say I add sodium sulfate to the same solution. I'm going to get 2Na plus AQ, and I'm going to get sulfate 2 minus AQ. What I've just added, okay, what I've just added here is a salt that you can see has a common ion with the barium sulfate. So sodium sulfate is soluble, barium sulfate is not very soluble, okay, but what I've done is I've added a substance that has a common ion, right? Both of these substances have a sulfate ion, okay, and what happens is the solubility of the barium sulfate goes down when I add the sodium sulfate. Okay, and why is that? Well, the idea is that when I add the sodium sulfate, I'm effectively adding more sulfate to the mixture. Okay, and so what I am doing here is I'm effectively increasing the concentration of sulfate by adding sodium sulfate. So when I increase the concentration of this, Le Chatelier's principle says, well, increasing the concentration of a product will push the reaction this way. It'll favor the reverse process. And as a result, the solubility of the barium sulfate effectively goes down. Okay? So by adding a salt with a common ion, okay, reduces the solubility of the other substance in the mixture. And so that is how Le Chatelier's principle and the common ion effect are related.